Bentley isn't an addition, dog. He was in the rotation last year. That's not an addition.
I'm not even just talking about Bentley. I'm talking about some of the. Look at all the portal ads. What did they say? They went all in on the portal, just like Ohio State.
Right.
And we're just assuming that they're going to go and win. And
no, I'm not assuming that. I'm not assuming that. That's what I'm saying. I don't assume it for Ole Miss, and I don't assume no additions for y'all are going to be key contributors. I don't assume that any of these guys be like. I think our offense is going to be good because of people.
You guys did not think I was just going to let them get off the hook that easy, did you? Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football's Sooner Magic podcast, brought to you by our partners at Mint Mobile. Guys, stop overpaying for big wireless and get 3 months of unlimited talk, text, and data for just $45 with Mint Mobile. Check out our partner site, trymintmobile.com/HOF. That's trymintmobile.com/HOF. You can get that amazing deal from Mint Mobile and stop overpaying for big wireless. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Going to get into this little heated discussion that we had on Thursday on No Cap SEC right here on the channel. Before we do, I want to encourage everybody to make sure that you hit that like button and become a subscriber if you have not already done so. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a moment of all the craziness that goes on right here on Hall of Fame College Football. I would tell you to do the same for Coach I at Fanatic Sports Network, along with Brinsky Sharp at the Sharp Shooters Podcast. And yep, Shawty too at Just My Damn Opinion. We know he loves to put that opinion out there. Great, fun stuff, fun guy. Guys, just so you understand, we're going to go through a couple of things that I didn't feel like got put out there just enough to make them understand. And this is really just a exercise for me to always get the last word. But just so you know, Coach I and Shawty are two of my favorite people on YouTube, two of my best friends out there. I enjoy listening to them, enjoy having them on the show. And look, we know how it is. This is passionate. When you start talking college football, the passion is always going to come out. And you know it is when it comes to me and my Sooners. So before I get into all this, just so you understand, we're all good to go. We enjoyed the show the other night. It was lots of fun. And, you know, we're going to get back into it, but it was lots of fun. So I hope you guys do as well. Make sure you get over there, subscribe to those other channels, along with our friend Jay at Unfair Sports, who he got in on the argument at the first part. He had to get out of there, though, before too long, and I had to take up the rest of it. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so if you guys want to go ahead and check out all the fireworks from Thursday night's episode of No Cap SEC, go ahead and take a look at the video that we have tagged here just above me. You can check it all out. Essentially, I'm not going to go back all through it here or rerun all of this stuff here because I want to just make a quick video to kind of drive home the points and why I believe Oklahoma will be a contender year one of SEC play, okay? There's a lot of reasons for it, but the main reasons, as I've spoken about in the last couple of weeks with the videos that I've done, is the fact that this defensive-minded head coach, Brent Venables, is recruiting at a very high level. He has all three cycles that he's been at. They're already recruiting very well for his fourth cycle since he became head coach. Now, the biggest thing about that is that the recruits that are coming in for Oklahoma, by and large, have been just as good on the defensive side as you normally see out of Oklahoma on the offensive side as well. You've got a total of, what was it? Well, you've got 4 blue chip defensive linemen, top 100 ranked defensive linemen just in the past 2 cycles alone. In the first cycle that he came in when he took over for Lincoln Riley, they had 3 guys in the top 100 defensive players as well. These are all guys that we expect to start making contributions, but not just the guys in this past class, which was arguably the best defensive class in Oklahoma history. Now, I'm not basing what we think on just Jaden Jackson or David Stone or any of the other 3 guys that are making up this defensive class on that D line. Okay. We understand that that's the most important part of SEC defenses and what makes SEC teams successful. This is why they win national championships year after year after year in the playoff. They have the big daddies on the line that can really get it done. Shut down defenses that, you know, even going up against teams like Oklahoma, we've seen that they have been able to shut down some of Lincoln Riley's best offenses, period. But what we've also seen, while at Clemson, Brent Venables' defenses did the same thing to them. Let's take a look at what it looked like from year one to about all the way through for Brent Venables' defenses while at Clemson and his first couple of years here at Oklahoma as well. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm just mostly going to go through the scoring defense. I can tell you know, we had that other video that I put out last week. You can go back and check that out. That's also right up here above us. You can take a look at that as well. Now, obviously, year one under Brent Venables, when they went 6-7, had the team pretty much gutted, bunch of new guys coming in. The only guys really left over, they struggle with the defense because of the fact that there's a lot more to it than what, as we know and as we've talked about, that you had with Alex Grinch, Lincoln Riley, and their speed D combination that really has not only struggled in his time at Oklahoma, but got Grinch fired in year two since Riley took off for USC, right? But year one, Oklahoma's total defense was at 121st in the country. Now, year two, they started off looking great. They dropped all the way down to like 77th in year two on total defense. That's all well and good. You saw Oklahoma towards the end of the season after the Red River game. There were some key injuries to some players that really kind of hurt them coming down the stretch. As a matter of fact, their last 5 games, they gave up an average of 35.7 points per game. Talk about the scoring defense more than anything else, because points is what really matters when it comes to defenses. There was times, even in the early part of the year, that Oklahoma gave up some yards in between the 20s, but they were one of the top red zone defenses in the country. They just weren't giving them up, okay? That even lasted through the Red River game and into most of the UCF game right until the end, whenever it got pretty close there, right? In the end, as I said, you started looking at, now you have, it was 35.7 points per game they gave up in the last 5 games of the season. That hurt their scoring defense average, but even though they ended up at 23.4 points per game, good for, if you're looking at the NCAA stats, 46th, a tie for 46th in scoring defense. The one that I was talking about here, my stats are coming from teamrankings.com right here. They go back all the way. I would have used NCAA all the way through it, but you can't seem to, they don't have any of the historical defense numbers on that website. So just for the sake of this, I'm going to go through it with it. There's a couple of differences as far as rankings are concerned, but the numbers are dead on as to what they were as far as how many points they gave up. Okay. So in year one, Oklahoma was 90th in scoring defense. Again, just not very good, but they went either to 41st or 46th, whichever you want to call it, 123.4 points per game. 23.4 points per game is what they gave up. That is, of course, a difference of what? I think they gave up 27.9 points per game in year one. So year two, they went to 41st. Now, similar movement. Now, obviously, he didn't take over a defense that was quite so run down when he got to Clemson, but Brent Venables' defenses did make a move quite similar to the one we saw from year one to year two at Oklahoma. It was very much similar from 99 to 2000 as well. Okay. Now let's take a look. So the first year, 2012, you can see there that Clemson, they gave up an average of 26.4 points per game. Okay. That was good enough for 56th in the country right there. Now, year two, in 2013, you can see they're not in the top 10. They go up a little bit, but It's pretty similar to what they were giving up in year 2, 23.8 points per game, good enough for 47th in the country. So there was a move up the leaderboard there, okay? Now, going to year 3, here we go. Tied for second, 16.2 points per game. Ole Miss was ahead of them at 15.5 points per game that season. Clemson, of course, went on to play in the national championship game for the first time against Alabama. They lost that game in a close one, but, you know, they had the number 2 overall, or the number 2 scoring defense in the country. Incidentally, according to team rankings, they were also the number 2 total defense that season as well, okay? Now, in 2015, Georgia actually came in. This was actually Kirby Smart's first year as head coach of the Bulldogs. They actually improved on their defense from 21.9 points per game the season before that. They dropped to 15.5 points per game, good enough for number 6 in the country. Clemson finished 25th that year at 20.8 points per game. Incidentally, though, 2015, 2016, that was the first year that Clemson played in the national championship game against number 2 Alabama. They were number 1. They lost 45-40 in that ball game as well. So look, that they still played really tough defense. They were good in a lot of ways, but as far as scoring defense was concerned, they weren't as good that year as far as Clemson goes. Now, 2016, 2017, they jumped back up to, they got below 20 points per game again, good enough for number 11 in the country, 19.3 points per game, number 11. This was their first national championship season. In 2016, 2017, they beat Alabama 35-31 in the title game coming in there. So let's go to 2017, 2018. Oh, yeah. Well, Georgia finished at 31, number 31 in the country that season, giving up 24.0 points per game. That was number 31 in the 2016, 2017 season. Now, they finished right next to each other in 2017, 2018. Clemson finishing at number 3 in the country, 14.4 points per game. Georgia right behind them at 15.8 points per game. With so they finished 3 and 4 in the country on defense. Okay, that of course was the season. So this was a tough season for Oklahoma. Georgia knocking off the Sooners in double overtime at the Rose Bowl, and then losing in overtime to Alabama in the championship game 26-23 as well. But again, they were number 3 and number 4 in the country. Of course, Oklahoma's defense, or Oklahoma's offense, actually blistered that Georgia defense in the Rose Bowl game, but still gave up 54 points. Obviously, at this point, Lincoln Riley is in his spot as head coach there. As this was actually under Mike Stoops as defensive coordinator on his own there for Oklahoma, but they gave up a lot of points that year. 2018, Clemson was number 1 in the country, giving up just 13.6 points per game. Georgia not in the top 10 that season. They come in at number 20 at 20.7 points per game, did the Bulldogs. This was, of course, Clemson's national championship number 2, as they beat Alabama once again in the championship game, blowing them out this time 44-16. That was definitely their best defense there. But as you can see, they continue to move up, with scoring defense. You saw the same thing with the defense at Oklahoma when Brent Venables took over there as well. Now, look, I'm not going to go through all these numbers.
Is your wireless company giving you a case of the what in the why is my wireless bill so expensive? Question: why are we paying so much for wireless service? Is it for speed, coverage, data, 5G access, mobile hotspot? Well, our new partners at Hall of Fame College Football, Mint Mobile, they have all these features. And for way, way less than big wireless. Like way, way less. As low as $15 a month. You can get signed up and activate your service immediately without having to leave your home. Mint Mobile reimagined the wireless process, making it easy and online. No more stores, no salespeople, and no giving. With Mint Mobile, you get all the features you become accustomed to with big wireless, the nation's largest 5G network, and service for as low as $15 a month. To start saving today, just log on to our partner website, trymintmobile.com/HOF. Again, that's trymintmobile.com/HOF. You can get signed up and activate your service immediately. Big Wireless wants you to believe they're the only option. Here's the deal. Big Wireless. You get comparable service to Big Wireless. You don't have to talk to a salesperson to do it. Largest 5G network in the country, as low as $15 a month. Sign up for Mint Mobile today so you can stop getting by Big Wireless.
Around. Something else I did want to point out, though, for everybody here was we will talk about this a little bit. Look, in the end, it's not just going to be a defensive thing is the reason why I believe OU can and will compete in year one of playing in SEC football. Okay. Look, offense did not start and end with Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, they finished ahead of Lincoln Riley's USC Trojans with the Heisman Trophy winner a year ago in number 3 and number 4 in the country in scoring and total offense. And they've continued to look, they've had 4 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. Only 2 of those were under Lincoln Riley's tutelage while he was at OU. Okay. Now, what I would also say, just to kind of hammer that point home. And the reason that I want to hammer this point home is because Shawty was in there saying, are they going to be able to put up 500 yards of offense in the SEC from game to game, just the same way they did this year in the Big 12? Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't, right? Number one, I expect that this Oklahoma defense, as I said, should move up very similarly to the way we saw Brent Venables' defenses step it up in year 3 at Clemson and year 3 at Oklahoma as well. Year 2 and 3 actually at Oklahoma when he was there the first time. But the other part of it is this. I believe that even if they are a top 20 defense, that the Oklahoma offense can be pretty close to the status quo. Okay. Let's go back to 2003. Okay. From 2003 to 2015, when Lincoln Riley showed up and took over as offensive coordinator, he became head coach a year later. But during that time before he got there, Oklahoma only finished outside the top 25 in scoring offense 3 times in 12 years. Okay. They were top 15 7 times in 12 years. They were top 10 4 times, twice being number 1 in the country in scoring offense. And once they were second in scoring offense as well during that time. Again, as I said, 2 Heisman Trophy winners. And on top of that, you had Landry Jones going for more than 4,000 passing yards 3 different times as the quarterback of the Sooners. Okay. 3 different times. The other year that he took over for Sam Bradford when he got injured, he still had over 3,000 yards in that one. He finishes as the all-time leading yard getter for a career in NCAA history, right? Then you had Jason White, who won the Heisman as well. Sam Bradford, who won the Heisman Trophy as well for Oklahoma during that time also. Again, Jackson Arnold is the next guy in line to do that. The only question that I have is whether or not this offensive line is going to be able to withstand the defenses in the SEC. I believe they will be able to. You've got a solid offensive coordinator who was already on staff, okay? And Seth Luttrell, of course, Joe John Finley, also already on staff. They held together one of the top offensive hauls in the country as well. This is a number 8 overall class. I think it was actually probably a little underrated by some of the guys that we've seen. That being said, I think that there's some guys, when you start looking at guys like Taylor Tatum, when you start looking at guys like Devon Mitchell at tight end, who was a top 10 overall prospect for the 2025 class, he dropped quite a bit. He's still a top 100 guy, 4-star guy coming into this season at 6'4", 250 pounds. This guy looks like he's going to be that next great tight end in Oklahoma history. I believe that with the guys they've got coming back, they got Deion Burks coming in. They have, he came in from the portal from Purdue. This is a guy that everybody wanted. You also have Jalil Farouk coming back. You're hoping that he takes care of the ball a little bit better, but this is a guy that when he gets his hands on the football is dangerous. You've got Nick Anderson as well. We call him Mr. Anderson. He had a big season along with an ascending Jaden Gibson as well. Pretty much everybody except for Drake Stoops will be back in this receiving corps. You also had a big second half of the season from Gavin Sawchuk to go along with Taylor Tatum on that offense that, look, as long as Jackson Arnold can come in there, we saw some things out of him just over the course of the year in games that he played. He had a big-time touchdown against Tulsa. He came in relief of Dylan Gabriel when he got hurt in the BYU game. Had a couple of big plays to where, whether it was running the ball or checking out of a play to get the last first down that they really had to have. It was a heck of a throw that he made, but it was probably a better read. This is a guy that won Elite 11. He was National High School Player of the Year. He was a 5-star plus guy. There's a reason why he's a 5-star plus guy. The guy is coming in. He's ready to take over this team. And there's no reason to believe that the Oklahoma offense won't be what the Oklahoma offense always is. Seth Luttrell, a 10-year plus offensive coordinator who's also been a head coach, and he has had some of the best offenses in the country at places like North Carolina and Arizona. I really don't expect that there's anything I really wouldn't worry about. It'd be the offense. But again, I believe, and I think everybody would probably back me up on this, that this defense, if it takes a step forward and gets into the top 20, I don't even think that your offense would have to be as explosive as what you've seen in the past from Oklahoma offenses. I just don't know that you need to be. That being said, Jackson Arnold has a bigger arm. He can make throws that we never really saw Dylan Gabriel be able to make. The deep ball to where, the guy's wide open. They're having to come back, to get to the football because he just wasn't able to get it that far down the field. And there were times that his timing wasn't great. I also believe that Luttrell is going to be a better play caller situationally than what we saw out of Jeff Lebby the past couple of years, particularly in games like against Kansas and Oklahoma State this past season when, it just seemed like a lot of uneven stuff. I hope we never see the jet sweep again. But if we do, I feel like it'll probably have that deep ball built into it as well, to where possibility you won't necessarily see it as the jet sweep. Okay. Now, is there a possibility that these guys could go 8-4? Yeah, I think that that's probably the floor for Oklahoma. Probably the floor. The more I see what's going on here, I think that something bad is going to happen for that to be where they are. Okay. I think you're going to have some injuries to key positions, which isn't definitely out of the realm of possibility, but I do believe that they're going to go in and surprise some people. A lot of these teams, as I was saying, Texas, we don't have to talk about Texas, but what I would tell you when it comes to Ole Miss, look, they got real heavy in the portal. They pushed it all in trying to see if they can win something this year. Lane Kiffin has yet to win a major game in the SEC as head coach of Ole Miss. I think he's a hell of a play caller. I think he's a hell of a coach, but he hasn't been able to beat those teams in those big games that seem to matter the most for the Rebels. Okay. Look, I understand that they play very well at home. So does Oklahoma. That's the last point I want to make. Their home games are against Tennessee. Josh Heupel, who also has a redshirt freshman quarterback starting for the first time. Well, he started in the bowl game this past year, but he will become the full-time starter this year, just like Jackson Arnold will. Something to remember, Oklahoma leading up to 2022, from 1999 to 2022, the start of Bob Stoops all the way up through the start of the Brent Venables era, Oklahoma won 130 out of 141 games at home. That's number one in the country. Now they've gone, 10-2 in their 2 years under Brent Venables at home as well. So it dropped back just a little bit. I don't know that they're still number one for sure. But they're over 85% win percentage at the Palace. That's better than anybody in the SEC. It's better than anybody in the SEC. So, yes, you've got some tough road games. We don't really know what LSU is. We know they're somewhere in the neighborhood of 75% win percentage at home. Big time, that's going to be a tough place to play. The Palace is going to be a tough place for teams like Alabama to show up, along with Tennessee as well. Don't sleep on Oklahoma too much longer, or do, But there's a reason why Oklahoma fans believe that, yeah, I'm going to continue to say that 2025 is the target year for Oklahoma to really challenge for it all. But if they, in view of the fact that Alabama has a new head coach, they lost a lot of guys on the defense, and they have to play OU at the Palace, not to mention you turn around and you've got teams like the road games you've got. Yes, Missouri went 11-2 this season. It was a soft 11-2. They played Georgia, they lost to them. They played LSU, they lost to them. Those were the two best games they had during the season, aside from Kansas State, which we saw as an underachiever in the Big 12, and it took a 60-plus yard field goal at the gun to beat them at home. I believe Oklahoma has no problems going in there and taking care of business there. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I believe that that's a win. I'm not worried about Texas. I've already explained why that is. I believe they have an opportunity to beat Ole Miss as well. Could they lose the games to like Ole Miss, LSU, possibly even Alabama, whatever? Sure, they could. Out of the possibilities, maybe 4 to 5 possible teams that could beat Oklahoma in the regular season, I can assure you that I don't believe that they're going to lose them all. Do they lose 2 or 3? Yeah, maybe. I've got them at going 9-3, possibly 10-2. 8-4 would be the floor. But as I said, I think you would have to have a lot of things go wrong for that to happen to OU. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. We're always here for you guys to talk to us about that. You can go again, like I said, check out No Cap SEC from Thursday night if you want to see all the fireworks as they happened. And then you can come back and watch this, whatever you want to do. But let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our new channel, the Hall of Fame Sooner Network. We're going to start migrating a lot of this Sooner stuff to that channel exclusively. Obviously, we want to get it to about 1,000 subscribers before we just put it only there. Okay. But for the time being, it'll be here. It'll be there as well. But jump over there. Make sure you hit that subscriber button there as well. We'll be having some stuff that'll only go there as well. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining me on this one. Hey, as I said, no hard feelings against those guys. They're two of my favorite guys, but I wanted to make sure I kind of outlined it one more time why I think it is Oklahoma's going to make noise year one in SEC football. Thanks for stopping by. We will see you guys on the next one.